Here we are. It is the day after Christmas. How are you feeling? How did you manage to get through yesterday? And it doesn't seem very fair, does it? I'm Kitryn Marie, reside in St. Louis, Missouri, an artist, writer, speaker, life, and a business coach. I apologize for whatever my camera is doing here. The lighting comes in and out. I'm about this close to getting a different phone so I can record a little different. But how did you manage to get through the day yesterday? And are you feeling the after holiday letdown? I have been sick on and off for the past 2 weeks. This past week, I worked 6 days, gladly was happy to work my 6 days. But I had a relapse from when I had a respiratory infection, prior the week before. So I wasn't able to work on Christmas Eve like I was scheduled to do, and literally last night was in bed at 7 o'clock. I'm praying whatever it is that I have does not go into pneumonia, and at this particular moment, I do still have my voice, where this morning I didn't have my voice. So whatever is in the air, and I know there are so many that are experiencing not feeling good. I know my oldest grandson has come down with some kind of flu also, and I will see my other kids, over the weekend. I had taken off these last, yesterday, of course, and today through Tuesday I am off. But I wanted to check in to see how everybody managed on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, because as we get older and we lose the people in our family that made Christmas magic, it gets harder for those of us who still believe in that magic and not to have it. And as I talk about in any of my classes, having that wonder and awe still within you when it comes to any holiday, gathering with friends or gathering with your family. And if you are an avoidant, if you are dismissive, if you do not really attach emotionally, you will always be on the outside looking in. And that's an internal, that is an abandonment issue that you are struggling with, because you have the sense of not belonging. You were treated differently. You were cared for unlike somebody else. Somebody always was the loudest, the biggest, the one that threw the temper tantrums when you were growing up, the one that always seeked the attention. And somewhere along the line, a lot of us were not seen and not heard. And then growing up, seeing all that magic and just hoping and praying that somewhere along the line, the magic was going to make everything become okay. So, Christmas Eve, it was me and my youngest. We didn't do anything. Like I said, I was not feeling good. I pretty much had slept all during the day, got up, barely made dinner for the both of us, wrapped all my presents for him and for my other kids and my grandkids, and then yesterday morning got up and I put my turkey in the oven so him and I could have a meal for the day. And then he got up later in the afternoon, like all young adults, they're still sleeping in. He doesn't go out much, but he works a lot. So we slept in, and opened his gifts, and it's like, he doesn't ask for a whole lot. So I don't mind, like on the holidays, kind of going overboard. But this year I did not. This year I did not make it about buying, gifts. It was about trying to keep the magic and the tradition alive in our small household. The dogs have been off the charts with the weather. It was cold, and then now it's like 70 degrees outside. And then I think by Monday or Tuesday, the weather's going to plummet back down to the 20s. No wonder most of us are sick. But keeping that magic alive, trying to keep everything in order, trying to keep everything in a cohesive serendipity holiday. So how did you manage? Did you have your family over? Did you hide? Did you sleep all day? Were you grumpy? Did you create enough havoc that nobody wanted to be around you, so therefore you just decided not to show up? Holidays trigger all kinds of memories. And I think at this point we can all agree that we cannot continue to live life like we have lived the last 3 years. Many of us have isolated out of self-protection. Many of us have just withdrawn because the noise and everybody's loud opinions is just too much between all the political views and whatever else is going on out, in our environment. We are the children stuck in between two adults who cannot make up a decision. And the fighting amongst the two of them has very much played a fact in all of our lives. Where those of us who have retreated, I don't watch TV. I rarely have the radio on. I work in an outside environment where it is so noisy. By the end of my shift, I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to listen to one more opinion. And I certainly don't want to try to force feed somebody some entertainment that they are not in the mood to participate in. But it isn't fair. It doesn't feel right. And it's not that I didn't know or you didn't know how this holiday would probably end up, but looking back on all the holidays that you have had in your life, when you look at what's in front of you and what you're having to deal with and those that you have lost and those that have created enough mess in their own lives that you have had to carry all of that emotional baggage, it is not fair at all. So as we are approaching the end of 2025, I hope you are understanding really what your role is and what position that you are trying to play in somebody's life, trying to keep that magic alive, trying to keep the serendipity going in situations that no longer appreciate because they cannot attach to what your vision is. They don't have the same feeling. They don't have the same emotion. And when you finally get tired and you become so exhausted and burnt out in trying to make somebody else's life magical, you decide you no longer can do it, and you create the magic for yourself and anybody else in your household that wants to believe in something bigger and more than what they know. But I am Kitryn Marie, an artist, writer, speaker, life, and a business coach. We're getting down to the end of 2025. Let's start 2026 with pure intentions and better goals and being more responsible for our own feelings and accountable for the havoc that any of us may cause in somebody else's life. And don't take out on somebody else because you cannot understand where they are coming from when they are trying to make your life better all the way around. So for today, for tomorrow, be happy, be blessed, be thankful for everything. Fate turns on a dime. It is up to you to decide what side of the coin you want to be on. Y'all take care, and I will try to get back with you in the next couple days. Take care.